Okay, so what you want to do is you want to copy. You can just show them this, Hyro. You want to copy.
Yeah, for example, here, like a new folder, have the blog client not inside of the JS intro lesson.
Yes.
Just paste it to another place.
Yes.
And we're going to create the Git repo. Okay?
Does that make sense, Carl?
Yeah.
It needs to be in another directory.
So what's in that directory?
Well, it should not necessarily repositories. It will let you inviting.
Yeah, well, after that, when we try to deploy to Heroku, for example, it's not a single repo. It's inside of the JS intro lessons repo.
And we have to make a folder, or do we get people into that folder? No.
Take the blog client folder, and this is the project folder, okay?
What you can do is you can just go to your, you can just copy paste that block line folder onto your, can you go to Finder? Yes. Go find it. Find it. Find it. Don't find it. What you can do is then go to the JS influences. JS influences.
What kind?
Yeah, that's it.
No,
Or you just normalize it.
You can replace today's blog client
Yeah,
for this
so
one,
that's
for
why I
example.
asked you to go to
Go to
JS
JS intro lessons.
and pick up the latest folder. Okay. Go to JS influences.
We have Axios.
Axios. Okay.
Client. Code complete.
Yeah.
And I'll copy that folder
Copy that folder.
and paste it in a different place.
Copy block. Okay. Now go to your controls. Go to your controls. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Now make a new folder in total repo. Total repo. Then you make a new folder. So what you need to do is you need to go and open it.
Once you have copied the folder to a different place,
Call it. So
go to that place in the console, go to that folder.
total repo. Okay.
And you are in this route.
So should we proceed with it after going into block?
Yeah, once we have moved to a different folder, now we can start creating the Git repo. So, which are the steps? Git init, first of all. Good morning.
Okay.
Can we let it be?
Well, it might still
The block client folder, but
Block
it's
client
not that
folder.
big, it shouldn't take much time. Because we don't have the node modules, we can wait, but it shouldn't be that big. Yeah, perfect. But now you are inside the block client. Yeah. Okay, what's next after the git init? We need to add our folder. Okay, so git add and dot. I don't have anything because I've already done it, but you should have something.
No, that's all right.
You're just telling that
You didn't get in it. Yeah.
now we are going to do the first commit. So what's the command for that? Is git commit. You can add the message -m and something like first commit, for example. Okay. And now you should have some messages, right? Do you have your GitHub account ready? We can do it later, but if it's okay if we do it now, we are going to push it to GitHub. Is it the commit done? So you can go to GitHub, add a new repo manually here in this button, and create a new repository called block-client. It's important to give the same name because it's going to be useful for our GitHub pages deployment. Okay? So give that block client name. It's public, and don't change anything else. Don't initialize the repository with a README because you already have one, or you can add one by yourself. Don't add a gitignore because you already have one. Okay? So after that, click to create repository. Once you create the repository, you have some like message like this one. We already have done these 3 steps. Okay, so that's fine. And we are going to do the fourth one. Okay, we are going to add remotely our block client to the GitHub repo. You can copy your link and paste it in your console.
What folder is are we following along from? Is it instructions or?
Yeah, it's the bloody.
Any document, right?
We are not following this because it's like you need to start the video. Okay. Did you run the git remote at origin command? Yeah. So after that, we're going to do the push. So you don't need to do the -u. Git push origin master. And once the push is finished, if you go to your blog client repo in GitHub, you see that you have your folders there. Okay, it's pushed. Yeah. And they see the blog client.
That's minus you that setup.
Yeah, it's set up stream.
Makes sense. But you don't.
Generally, no. Sometimes if you create like another web connection, yeah, you might have to. I can't remember what are the conditions that.
So that's like redundancy. So like in case someone has something somewhere else, it doesn't remove their.
Maybe, I'm not sure, but if you always put the names of the connection and branch, you never have to. It's only if you just want to say like hit push, I think.
Okay, so now that all of us have the Git repo and the GitHub repo, we are going to start to deploy to Heroku. Okay. So when we deployed our server, we did it on Heroku. Okay, it's already there. So that will be our first option. But first of all, we need to check some things first. Be sure that you are able to log into Heroku. So go to heroku.com and check if you are there. If you have a user, if not, do the sign up. But we should have one. Okay. After that, we can check if Heroku CLI is installed in our console. For example, checking our version. So if I type Heroku-v or Heroku-version, I can see which is my Heroku version, right? Yeah, you are in the console, you are in the same folder. Yeah.
7.333.
Yeah, that's okay. And we're also going to check our node version, but in the Heroku-v, we already have it. Okay, so this is our node version. Mine is 10.16.0. Maybe yours is slightly different, but
I'm just in a lesson.
you can check the node-v. Same, okay, 10.16.0. So we are going to add this to our package.json with the engines. Okay, so we can copy this part of the lesson. Go to code. I'm sorry, I'm not still there. I'm going right now.
Okay, see you, bye.
So when you
You type in exactly.
where is the lesson?
Sorry?
You type in exactly 12, like 12.0.
I take mine, yeah. I saw you, don't copy, I mean, you need to put your version, don't the 10.x. Just take, mine is,
Put in the exact version.
yeah, the exact version. So go to,
Is it deploy a remote act? Where is it? The lesson.
lesson is called deploy a React app.
Yeah, this is.
And if we are in the deploy to Heroku.
And we're putting that in package right?
Yeah, so take the engines. This is the same we did in the server deployment, okay? So you can go to the end of the package.json here and add a comma and add your dependency. So it's 10, 16, 0, mine. And save it.
That's we put it at the end.
Yeah, I mean, you can put it anywhere, but
Did you put it at the end?
I add it at the end, yeah. Okay, are we already here?
I've got a mistake.
Did you add a comma here after? Fixed? So what's next? What do we have in our config/api.js file? If you have a look, maybe you already changed yesterday to your Heroku server. But if you have taken it from today, you should have the same that I have. So open config/api. In the base URL, you can have this HTTP localhost 3009. This is the local host, so we don't want that anymore. What do we want now? We want the URL of our Express server, right? So if you don't have one, I paste it in Slack, the one we can use, this limitless Lowlands, blah, blah.
What do you need the URL of your server?
Do you have a Heroku server?
Heroku server.
Express server? It doesn't matter if you don't have one. So go to Slack.
I've already got stuff deployed on Heroku, so will I have a Heroku server?
You can take yours if you have
So
one.
how do I know? Where will I
Go to your Heroku. It's okay if you take this one, okay?
Where do we go to servers? If I'm in my Heroku.
I'm pasting the base URL, or maybe add a comment.
Find if you've got a server?
Okay, you can paste it here and
Where do you find if you've got a server?
go to your Heroku login.
Elements, yeah. Do you go to Elements?
What do you have there? Do you have any application?
Yeah, she's looking for a
Yeah, but which one is your server? You need to open them.
If I go back, I think it's where will I find the server now?
Open the app. If not, you can take that limitless Lowlands, okay?
Where will I find it? You said open the app, where will I find the server?
It's a server. If you run it, for example, if you add /post, what do you have?
So she's got this link on the line, so that has to be the server.
Yeah, it's a server.
It's not just that one. I mean, it's any.
This is add /posts. You have information there.
So where's the server?
The server is here, it's running. This is the server.
So this
You are
is the
doing
URL.
the URL of the server is this one. Okay?
So this is what you
And it's running
without the posts.
without the post. You need to take just the base URL.
Without the posts. Yeah, just copy that.
Copy that link, go to base URL in your config/api.ax and replace it by your local host.
Okay, that's not waiting for it earlier.
Okay, are we already here? Everyone? No?
If you have
Server running in your
and you store it in
you can copy it from mine. But okay, Slack.
find this one, it will go look at
If you want.
yeah, yes. So every time once it
So copy mine.
what you have to do is you have to go and change API.
They can move on. Yeah. So what's next? Yeah. Wait. No. What's going on? Don't create yet. Did you add? Let's wait. You are looking for the. You have a right harder than us. Did you change your Express server in code? Okay, but after that, in the config, yes. Don't call the Express local host. What do you need to call? Mine. You can take my Express server. So go to Slack. And you can take this request and this is where my Express server is deployed in Kyoto. Okay. So you are going to do the request to the person. Okay. So instead of having our URL, our server URL hard coded in the API.js, it's better if we use environment variables. What were the environment variables? We can define them and give them some value that we're going to need instead of hard coding them in the code. Okay, so we need to write process.env, and after that there are some names, that some variables that are already provided by Node, for example, but we can create our own environment variables. Okay, and for example, we did the same in the previous deployment with MongoDB URI, where we were linking our database. Okay? So now we are going to create a new environment variable called named express URI. Okay, so we can do that and go to code, and before our URL we can add this. Actually, once we are not going to run our server locally, it's a better practice if we delete this URL. Why? Because it's easy to find this kind of information from the client, okay? And it's better if we don't give that information of where is our server hosted, for example. Okay, so once our client is not going to run locally anymore, we can just leave the environment variable, okay? And we can remove this information, okay? We are going to do some testing locally first, so we are not going to remove it, because locally this express URI, it doesn't have any value, so we need our hard-coded URL, okay? But after that, it's okay if we remove it, okay? Now we are going to run Heroku locally, just to check if everything is working fine, okay? Yeah, the other thing is if you change the timeout from 2000 to 5000, if you have taken now from the blog client, we still need to correct that value, because it's easy to get timeouts if we have it to 2000. Okay, so change it to 5000. Okay. So everything is saved. Now we are going to run wait, don't run it yet. Have you done the yarn install? If not, do it. Otherwise, it's not going to run. Check in code if you have the node modules folder. If you don't have it, you need to do the yarn install, because the dependencies are not installed.
If you get errors in the yarn install, you can try removing node modules and then run it again.
But do you have the node modules?
So I don't need to do it. Run it. You can unremove.
Remove it and run it again. Yeah, remove the node modules and do the yarn installation.
So remove the engine.
Sorry?
Remove the node engine.
The node modules folder?
Modules folder.
Not the engines.
I still get an error. I'm still getting an error.
Or I change it to
No. The node module you ignore it if it doesn't find the submodules. Okay, remove the engines. Are you having problems with the engines?
Yeah, I think
So remove the engines first of all.
Where's the engine?
In the package.json, remove that. Okay. Do the yarn install, and after that, paste again
Okay.
the engines. Yeah, that was my mistake, because I have already did the yarn install, but I forgot to tell you. Yeah.
So you want to change the title to 5,000?
Sorry?
Did you say you want to change the title to 5,000?
Yeah. Finally now is going to have dependencies correctly. So after that, copy again the dependencies in the capital JSON the engines.
Do we run directly local web?
Yeah, if it's if the yarn install is done and you have pasted again the engines, yeah, you can check with Heroku local web if everything is running okay. So if the yarn install is done and you have pasted again the engines, you can do the Heroku. At the beginning, we have a warning because we haven't added any proc file. Do you remember what was the proc file? It's a file where we add how can we start our server or our client. Okay, we did that in the previous one, and it was at like one line telling that we are going to run with Node start. Okay, if we don't have one, how is it going to run it? It's going to do the npm start. Okay, it's going to go to the dependencies, to the scripts in package location, and it's going to find or it's going to look for a start script and it's going to run this. So it's okay if we don't have a proc file. It's recommended to have one, okay? So we should have something like this, just locally, okay? But now we are already connecting with our Express server, and if you take my link, you should have the same information there. Like 3 posts. The post. You haven't touched the post. Can you see connected to the console? The browser.
So when you click on replace URL, you server, then we're on your yeah,
You're having the course error because you take your server. And remember that yesterday we did some changes in the server with the course. Because we couldn't access.
This is the complete code. So
No, is you have taken your own server that was deployed like 1 month ago.
right,
And remember that yesterday we did a change in the course.
right,
We add the credential and the origin.
right.
So you don't have that in your
So
in
what
your
am I
server.
gonna do?
you should go to the config API and take my server. Copy my link. After that, you can fix your code and deploy your server again.
So where did you put that link?
It's in Slack.
In Slack.
In your email.
Go down. You can take this URL and paste it in base URL. Config. Yeah, now it's set yours.
And then what?
And then you go now to the client, the browser, check your client. Click something more there, show here you have any space. Space there and get this. After that you have more spaces here.
What?
No,
No
here
space?
in the line 7 is still connected with the TV, so
Oh,
I remove that space. Now, let's see what happens now in the browser. Okay, now you have. No, because it's a tool, it's a component from the React.com. Remember that we take it from the React.com when we import. We have the browser and the switch. And see that it's a component that has the keys. Okay, so I mean, you can use a JavaScript switch, but it's a different, it's not a component. Okay, it's running Heroku locally. So once we have this, we can go on, and we are going to commit last changes because we add the environment variable, we add our own URL, we changed the package.json, we changed the timeout from 2000 to 5000. Okay, so we have made some changes, so we need a new commit. Okay, so go to the console and you can stop the client. Okay, Control C, and after that do the git add, do a new commit. I'm going to add a comment like add environment variables. After that, I'm going to log in with my Heroku account. It's better if I add the -e, so I don't jump to the web app. So Heroku login -i.
I'm already logged in on the web app, so do I log out?
I think you should try to do the login here too.
So then I'll just close it on the web, is that right?
I think
If we have our email between square brackets, that means that this is the default option. Okay, so we click the enter, it will take that user. And after that, you have to type your password. Okay? Once you're logged in, we need to create the app. So type Heroku create. Okay, I have a problem that I have already 5 apps with an unverified account, so I need to delete one of them. If you don't have more than 5 accounts, okay, now I have an app. Okay, if you have already 5 apps, you will need to delete some of them, at least. So now do the Heroku create. So we have just one step before our last push to Heroku Master, that we are going to add our environment variable, okay? Because we define it here in our code. We say if you have an Express URI, use it, okay? So we are going to set this Express URI to our value, okay? So how is this done? Heroku config :set, the name of our environment variable, Express URI, equals, you can't give any space, otherwise you're going to get an error, okay? And after that, paste the URL without quotes, okay? So you can take it from Slack, or you can take it from your API.js. It's your URL, okay? So paste it here. Click enter, and it will say you that it's setting the Express URI variable and restarting your app, okay? So now Express URI is set to limited Lowlands. So now everything is done, okay? So what's the final step? Do the push. So Heroku, sorry, yeah, no, git push Heroku master. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to check it right now. You feel like you have conflict because you have created this app with this name, and after that you're trying to set the expression right to this app. They are in different apps. That should be like just because you don't have to
So I found that the problem was is this.
okay, it doesn't matter. Do the
That doesn't exist.
push to your master and we do it manually. We're going to add variables. Git push, yeah? What is that? Git push?
I think so.
Heroku.
Well, maybe just the uninstall because of the but what I did was a workaround. Just
Yeah, you need to
so I'm going to right at the first.
yeah, but it's not anything in your folder. Do an ls check. Where is that stored? So where the information is stored?
You might have logged in.
You need to do some research and check where is this information stored. Oh, it's where it's stored. Yeah, but that was I mean, you need to be careful once you create a name in your blog. You can't just only create one app per folder. So if you are in the blog client, you can't do that here to create just once. Otherwise, you're going to have conflicts like this. So apparently, it's done. So it's time to check through Heroku if we are already there. Okay. So the name was Radiant Scrapland. I'm going to open it and I'm going to run it. So that's it. Okay. Here is my blog client running in Heroku.
Did you change the URL?
No. Can you open the console? No. Which one is your URL? Sorry, your server? It's mine. You should have this course. Can I see how did you create the binary variable? No, but that's the problem. You choose that your first, but you need to put the limit less down than is the URL. Okay, because now you're trying to access to this server and you're not getting any response because this is not the server. You can do it manually. Go to code.
And then
Copy this URL. And then go to Heroku. And settings.
it's a whole list. where it says you're serving around.
I'm here. Okay, nice. Okay, fine, sorry. Okay, now. Okay, so try to because I'm trying
An enhancement of it, it says,
Okay, how did you solve it?
no,
This
post.
is zero cube kits and then semicolon.
So here, if we find a single post, then the length of that post should be equal to 1.
And now we say
And then I also added one little change here. It said send more posts. That means
Okay.
if it has an invalid ID, we just send something at 100 or something to 100. So I just said last two posts equal to whatever. So this should contain an array with some value, at least one entry in that array.
No, this is gonna return an empty array all on its own. You don't have to do this. Okay? If this doesn't find anything, it will return an empty array. So you don't even have to do this. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. So if there's nothing found, that's right. That's right. So you can just return. Yeah. You can just return the sequence filter. So it'll you can take this. So it'll automatically do that.
So it returns.
It'll return an empty array if it doesn't find anything that matches.
So then here in blog posts,
So you're trying to detect that there's
I'm
no.
just trying to check
Mhm.
if now this is going to be a single post.
Mhm.
So do I have to have another thing like this basis if it's equal to
Let's try to-
It won't be equal to null.
the array?
It'll be 0. So dot length. Dot length is going to be a number.
0. Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm.
So if this is 0,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm actually trying to pass this along with the other.
So what are you trying to accomplish? What do you want to do? So there's no post. What do you want to do?
There is no post, and I want to render this.
So the thing is you'll have to do that from here. So I'll show you blog post again. Yeah. So here, the thing is that we'll only come into this if there's something in here.
Once it's done,
So if there's nothing in here, we'll never even come in here. Okay? So really what you want to do is you want to have, maybe you could say, you don't even need it. You don't even need to store this separately necessarily. You could say if post dot length greater than 0, return this, else return rendering your
return stage.
sure you get ifs in there.
It's not that we should have some
So it doesn't mean that you could. So you could do an if inside the return statement as well. Like you could do it either way.
We didn't allow me,
Okay.
so maybe in my syntax was
The syntax is tricky. Okay? It is because inside of this return it's JSX. Outside of the return it's JavaScript. Right? And so the
you run it
JSX
locally.
I usually don't get it right the first time.
So a better way to do it would be to have two
Let's
return.
make
You
sure
could have
that-
two returns. That's right. And so in the case that you've got post to display, at least one, you would return this. And if you don't have any post to display, instead you would return
This one.
you would return this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because here it's telling me to remove unreachable code.
Yeah.
So this
That's right, because return from a component should return JSX. So you can put an if statement in here, but it's JSX, it's not JavaScript. So you can't just say if something. You've got to use curly braces.
Okay.
And yeah. So but we're never gonna get here in that case, so that's not the right place to put it. Yeah. We'll never get there. So we'll never get inside of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here
So
what I
now,
need So here when you check is
Yeah, or number of posts. It's really the number of posts, isn't it? Isn't it? So instead of post length, I would tell it, no, go put that back. Actually,
Posts is an array.
it's an array.
Post is an array. So it can either be an NP array, but it can be an array with one.
You could just be able to say that one.
Yeah, so can we not write
Now
like
I'm
this?
questioning if it's an array or not, but it is an array. It
Yeah,
is an
it's
array.
one.
Yeah.
Even?
Yeah, you can do that too.
Okay.
So you don't need to check that twice, okay? Because you could just say, if,
But then we're checking for.
no posts.
Yeah.
Basically, this evaluating to 0 means there are no posts,
Yeah.
right?
But then.
So it's not really post length then, because this is going to return true or false, not a length, right? This is going to return true or false. So this is what the no says, right?
So it is like either single post or no post.
Mhm.
And then there's no need to have this. Because we know
That's never going to get there. So what you could do is you could say, if no post, return the other thing, else, return this. Yeah.
So let's try to change it to this. Let's try to
why having another purpose is regular for checking the values. Because here it is sending a single post to block posts. In considering a scenario where it says all posts need to be loaded.
This is, so the reason we send single post to blog post is so that we know if we need to render comments. Because we only render comments if there's only one post to show. And also it trickles down to if we're the post owner, we should be checking whether or not we have the edit and delete buttons, but I must have a flaw in the logic there. Yeah, I do. So this needs to be
Single post.
So we should only be showing that edit delete button if it's a single post too.
We are going to give it some minutes if it's able to take the change because it's not taking that change. So we're going to the
I
next
should
tool,
get
okay?
a refresher.
Yeah. That's all right. Did all that make sense?
It's sort of slowly unfolding.
Yes. Good.
But I'm not sure if this should be faster or
No,
I don't know if it will take as long.
it's fine. Has everybody noticed my Hacktoberfest shirt? I'm super proud of it. Got my Hacktoberfest shirt yesterday.
Okay, so let's go with the next deployment tool, okay? It's Netlify. And it's a really nice tool for deployment that offers different kind of hosting, okay? And includes an option to deploy our app for free, okay? So first of all, we're going to visit netlify.com and we're going to sign up. Maybe you are already there, but if not, go to netlify.com and do the sign up. I recommend to sign up with your GitHub account. Why? Because it has many advantages if you do it with your GitHub account. It can be really easy to deploy a GitHub repo in Netlify. Just you drag and drop your build project and your build folder, and it will be deployed like in 1 second. Okay, so that's really useful. Okay, but we are going to do it with the Netlify CLI. Okay, we're going to do it with the console. So first of all, we're going to build the project. Okay, we can build it with npm run or with yarn run. Okay, both are good options. First of all, do the login. If you are already in your GitHub account and here in the login option, well, I'm already inside, but if you click in the GitHub option, are you logged in Netlify? Yeah. If you prefer to sign up with your email account, it's totally fine. Okay.
Let's go to GitHub or
It's okay if you can do it with the GitHub account. It's actually it's better.
Because maybe I'm already signed up.
Yeah, you're already there.
So it's that means I'm already signed up.
Yeah, and you have already 3 apps.
Okay. Alright.
So now go again to the console, and we are going to build the project.
Okay, so what do you put in the console?
Nothing but npm run build or yarn run build.
So yarn build.
Yarn run build. This is going to create a folder called build, where it's going to be stored our client app, but like statically. Okay. After that, once the run is created, you can go to the project and see that in the root, yeah, there's a folder called build, and inside of that directory, you will have some static information about your app. Okay.
So where do you go?
Is the run already done? Sorry, the build.
Yeah, I did yarn build.
But is that command finished?
Yeah.
So now go to code, and in the root, you should have
Where?
in the root. You need to go up,
At the bottom.
but it's built
So where do we go?
Right,
Yeah, the top.
So let me just show me where you ran yarn on build.
Oh, I got an error.
Yeah. Okay, so we do it with npm run. Yeah, once we install the engine, with the node engine, we are having problems. Now you have it.
Yeah, and now.
Yeah, now just have a look to your build folder, okay? It has a folder called static, and after that has two folders, CSS and JS. It has converted our React app in a JS and CSS files, okay? So first of all, we need to do this build to deploy it, because the folder we are going to deploy is this build folder. We are not going to deploy the whole project, just this folder. Okay?
What's your static? Where did you go to?
Yeah, I just opened the static folder to check what do I have inside of it, but I haven't touched anything, just information. Okay?
Yeah. CSS and JS. Yep. And did you need us to do anything?
No. We are going back to the console, and we are going to install the Netlify CLI. Okay? Because we are going to do the deployment in the console. So npm I netlify -cli, and we can install it globally, okay? So -g.
Yeah, I get errors, so I've got to do it with sudo. Do I?
Are they permission errors?
Yeah, if you
Then
have
yes.
permission errors. Yeah,
You shouldn't have to do sudo inside the project. Wait. You shouldn't have to do sudo inside of a project.
Right, so I'm getting errors.
Your cache folder contains sudo file.
it's better if you don't install it globally instead of install it with sudo,
Just do what it tells you to do.
okay?
Copy that line and run that.
If you are going to have errors, it's okay if you do the npm I netlify CLI without the global. Just install it in your project.
Yeah, she's still got an error, but it tells you what to do. It tells you to run sudo to phone or something. It says so. Her error message said because of the previous version of npm, some of the cache files are rebuilt, and it's telling you what to do. So the error.
Okay, did that. Then do you have to run the npm again?
Oh yeah. This is being
Is the CLI installed? Yeah?
So you run that sudo chown -r that's there in the message.
Yeah, this is like
Okay, so now that's done.
Now we need to log in our console. So do this netlify login. Mine says that I'm already logged in via netlify config in my machine. if it was the first time you logged in Netlify, maybe you need to add some permissions through the app, just if it's the first time. Okay, it's not my first time, so I don't have.
Yeah, but it's not my first time either, so should I?
If it's asking you for permission, you should allow it.
And so maybe so this is my account. So close this.
You can do the Netlify logout, and after that do the login again. Netlify logout. You can do the Netlify logout also in the console.
Alright. So then I do a it's not going back to my one with the clients. It's doing a new one. It's not my thing, so do I just go authorize?
Authorize, yeah, you need to authorize. That's fine. Now go to the console again. So now next step, we want to deploy once we build, and we have two deployments. Okay, the first one is just to try if everything is working okay, and we are going to get like a temporary link just to check if our deployment is working fine. Once our deployment is working fine, we can do the production deployment, adding the prod flag. Okay, so first of all, run npm run deploy, and after that, if we have checked that the deployment was okay, do the second one. Okay?
It's not, I get errors, missing script deploy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're gonna go Netlify deploy.
Yeah, sorry, that's my mistake. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm going to edit that after the lesson. Yeah, because
So is it
the command is Netlify, yeah. I don't know why I write this. Netlify run deploy.
I think you just need to go Netlify deploy. Yeah.
Netlify deploy. This is the correct command. Okay? Actually, I'm going to do it right now.
What would you like to do? Create and configure new site?
Are you having a URL at the end of the deployment?
I get, what would you like to do online?
Yeah, wait for. So these are the steps. The only thing you can do is or link this directory to an existing site or create and configure a new site. What do we want to do? Create a new one. So with the arrow, you can go down and choose the second one. Okay?
That's my first one.
That's okay. Create and configure a new site. Okay? After that, you can choose team. It's going to be displayed your username, right? At least these are my options. Maybe different operating system, different messages. So choose your team, your own team. And after that, this is the most important thing here. Okay? We need to choose a unique site name or leave it blank for a random name. No, not this one. I mean the next one. We can give a name to our app. So blog client. If we put blog client, it will add some numbers because we can't have the same URL. For example, I can add my name. And this was the most important. Okay, we need to provide a publish directory. What folder are we going to use to publish? This one. What do we say before? When we did the run build, we create a build folder, right? So now we need to choose build. That's the most important. Otherwise, it's not going to work. This is not a random decision, okay? We can choose public, we can choose any directory, okay? We need to write build here, okay? So once we do that, we have a live draft URL here, just to check if the deployment was okay. So you can copy this link and go to the browser and paste it.
Copy the live draft one.
Yeah, the live draft URL.
And you paste it.
Yeah, you paste it in the browser and check what's happening, what's going on.
But we did that.
So I have mine working. Just check that the posts are displaying here. Is it yours working? So if it's working okay, the next step we need to do is the real deployment, the production deployment. So we need to run the same command, but adding the production flag that is --prod. Okay, netlify deploy --prod. So same one, but with prod. We are going to need to the build folder again. We need to do that. Now is the only question we are going to be asked. The name of the site, the name of the team. We are going to create a new site. That was everything in the first deployment. Okay. We need to choose build again. This is our answer. So now we have our live URL. And check that everything is working fine.
So you copy that live URL.
Copy it in the URL and paste it in the browser because it's your URL. And you want to see your blog client, right? We can check if everything is working fine. I click one post and I see the post and the comments. I don't have comment, but I can see the comments component. I click in about and I can see the about component. What happens if you refresh the page? Refresh it. We have a problem here, right? Everyone is having the same problem?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is perfectly normal because it's already covered here. What happened if you refresh the page? The blog client is gone because Netlify has some issues managing React routes and redirects. Okay? So if we are using a single page app, an SPA, and we are having React routing, it's a normal mistake. But fortunately, it's really easy to fix it. So we are going to code to our build directory here in build, and we are going to add a new file. It's called underscore
Just a new file.
redirects. Yeah, a new file. This is going to fix the redirects.
Do you put anything? You don't
It doesn't have an extension. No.
Right?
And we are going to add this information. In every path we don't found, we are going to choose, we are going to replace it by the index.html. Okay? This is the rule we are going to create. Anytime we have a not found, we are going to redirect it to index.html. Okay? That's how we fix the redirection problem. Okay? So every time we refresh the page, we are not having that problem anymore.
can you please tell us again, did you add a deploy script to package JSON for Netlify deploy? Sorry, for npm run deploy?
I didn't add any. It wasn't my mistake because it was
Oh,
with
it should be
Netlify.
Netlify deploy.
It's Netlify deploy, yeah.
And not npm.
Yeah, that was my
deploy.
mistake.
Okay.
I've already edited the lesson.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
So in redirects, add this information. Save it and do the deploy again. Okay?
So the second deploy, like before
It's
you
better if first of all we do the
Dash
not production deployment. Just to check.
So Netlify deploy, and then you do dash prod.
It's better if you do the development deployment first instead of the production. I mean, it's the same, but just to check, do the things in the correct way. Okay? We need to be sure that everything is working fine before to do a deployment, the production deployment. Okay? This is how the things work in the real world. Okay? First of all, ensure that everything is working fine before doing the deployment to production. Okay? Because the production is real world. Okay? So now we have this live draft.
Yeah.
What do we need to check now?
put it in the
Now we need to put it in the.
Yeah, we paste it in the browser. What was our problem? When you refresh it, we lose it. What happens now? We refresh it, and it's still there. Okay, so problem solved. Okay? So don't forget to do that redirection if you are going to deploy a React app with routing to Netlify. Okay? Because otherwise, at the beginning, you think that it's working fine. I mean, all the routes work fine, but once you do the reload, you lose it. Okay? So add, it's just a single file. Okay? In the build folder, redirects. So what's going to happen every time that he finds like anything and is any redirection is going to send it to the index.html to the main page. Okay, if we refresh it, we will be there. Okay, so that was our second deployment tool, and we're going to take last one. Okay, GitHub Pages. It's kind of the same to Netlify, because first of all we need to build, and after that we need to deploy, and also we are going to have kind of problems when we try to add some application with routing and redirects. Okay, so first of all we are going to deploy it, we are going to have some errors, and after that we're going to solve them, and it's going to work fine. Okay, so the process is similar to Netlify, but Netlify has already built some files in our project, so we are going to delete some things. Okay, so you can feel free to delete build folder.
Really? Delete the build folder.
Yeah, how can we build again this build folder?
Oh, there's a Netlify folder, so that's fine, is it?
We are going to delete it too. Okay, I mean, this is not the normal thing. Have one app and deploy to 3 different places. Okay, so I'm going to pretend that this is the first time I'm going to deploy my app to a place. So I'm going to try to keep it clean before to do the next deployment. Okay? Yeah.
Okay, so you have to delete the Netlify.
Yeah, I definitely recommend to delete the Netlify folder again, just to keep things quite clean. Okay? So let's start with the GitHub pages. Obviously, we need a GitHub repo with the same name. That's why at the beginning of the lesson, we create our blog client repo in GitHub. Okay. So we need to do the build again. Okay, so npm run build. And now we are going to have attention to what message do we have when we run npm build, or when we npm run build.
React scripts build, and optimized production build.
So when we do npm run build, we have a message. I suppose that you have to. Something like this. You can control this with the homepage field in your package.json. For example, add this to build it for GitHub pages. Okay? So what can we do? We can add homepage, a new line in the package.json. I have one, but don't copy this one. Why? Because this is my GitHub account. You need to write yours, okay? I guess that yours is named blog client, so this is fine, but you need to change this, okay? And there you need to write the name of your GitHub account, okay? So copy this, go to code, go to the package.json, and add a new line, for example, between private and dependencies. Again, be careful with the username, okay? Don't write mine. Yeah, well, now we need to go back to the console. It needs to match exactly with your GitHub account and with your GitHub repo. Okay, otherwise it's not going to work. Okay. One more thing, we need to install the GitHub Pages library. It's called gh.pages, and we're going to save it as a dependency. So include the --save.
Ira, just quickly.
Yeah.
Where was I putting that homepage in JSON file?
Between the private and dependencies, I choose this place, but I mean you can place it almost everywhere. Not inside of a dependencies, for example, or inside of a script, but yeah, in the top level, wherever you want. Okay, so install the save gh pages. It's taking some time, so I can explain what's coming next. Once we have installed the gh pages, we can run this command, gh pages -d build, because it's going to deploy the build folder again, same method that Netlify. Okay, but this time we are going to create or to add in the scripts of the package.json a pre-deploy and a deploy. Okay, just to have a command to run it. But it's okay if you do this. gh-pages -d build.
Put that pre-deploy and stuff in first.
Wait to finish the gh pages because it's going to copy in the dependencies of the package.json. Don't edit the file in the meantime. So once we copy the pre-deploy and the deploy scripts, after that we can run npm pre-deploy and npm deploy. Okay, so the first one is going to create the build folder. Again, if it's not created, just to have it there. And after that, it's going to do the deployment. Okay, so once we do those two steps, we are going to visit our GitHub repo in the app. Okay, and in settings, GitHub pages, we are going to see that we already have a link to display our app. Okay.
Okay, but first of all.
Yeah.
That finishes, and then do we run npm?
npm pre-deploy and npm deploy. But first of all, you need to copy those scripts in package.json.
Where do you put those scripts?
You have your
Package.json.
inside of your scripts.
It created a new package.json.
Not creating new package.json.
See that?
So this stores the current versions of the dependency you use, but this is the package.json. This package.json. Okay, so
Package.json.
you have your scripts,
Yeah.
so you can add a comma after the jet, and you can add those students. I'm going to do it. Yeah, I have a problem trying to install the package.json, so I'm going to try to run it again. Sorry for that.
So, and then you run npm run pre-deploy, is that right?
Yeah, and no, npm deploy. Sorry, npm pre-deploy.
Yeah. No run, okay?
Like npm start, for example.
So,
npm pre-deploy, and it's going to do the npm run build. Okay, it's the same thing.
Should I be saving that pre-deploy and
okay, did that.
VS scripts.
And then npm.
Yeah, you can add to.
And then I run npm.
So now you can go to the and do the npm pre-deploy.
Harold?
Yeah.
After you've run npm pre-deploy and it's done, do you run npm deploy?
Give him just a minute and he'll get there.
Okay, no one is going to be able to find, so I'm going to have a look while yeah, you're having all the same problems, so maybe that's my mistake. Let's see what's going on. Yep.
Oh,
So I go to scripts, add 2 new scripts, save them. Okay, it's npm RAM pre-deploy. I'm not sure why, but that's it. npm RAM pre-deploy and npm RAM deploy. Okay. Once you run the deploy, you will see that it does the pre-deploy before. Okay. It's okay. It's very good to have like the separate scripts. Just want to do the build, okay? Because maybe we don't always want to deploy to GitHub. We just want to build the process. Okay. Okay, the pre-deploy is already done in my computer, so I'm going to do the npm run deploy. So see that is building the project too, okay? The deploy is also running the build. So why do we have the pre-deploy and the deploy? Maybe because we don't always want to do the whole deployment. Maybe sometimes we just want to build the project. Okay, so we do the pre-deploy. Okay, so first of all, this was the npm run build command, and after that is the gh pages dash build. Okay, so this is going to do a push, or it's going to publish a new branch in our GitHub repo. Okay, so now that it's finished, it's published. Okay, we can have a look. Do you arrive here? Are you already? The deployment is already done. I can wait. Published. Once it's published, go to your GitHub repo, to your blog client, and here in the top options, you have settings, right? You can click in settings, and you can go down and find your GitHub pages with this site published. Okay? If you have a look in the source, says your GitHub pages site is currently being built from the GS pages branch. We haven't done like manually any branch to our Git repo, right? But if we have a look to our blog client here, we'll see that here in our branch we have master, but if we click it, we have another one called GHpages. Okay, this is what the GHpages library does. Creates a new branch, and if we select that branch, we'll see that have the static folder with these assets. What do you think is that? Is the build folder. Okay, this is what is published to the GitHub repo.
So where did you go? You get the go down to GitHub pages.
Yeah, go to settings.
Yeah.
And go down and find your GitHub pages.
Yep.
Now you can click here, all of you. You can better it with a control click to don't lose your repo. But we are going to have a problem here, okay?
If you just click on the home again there, it doesn't refresh.
We are going to have many problems. Okay, this is the first one. Okay, we are in the root path, right? And what are we displaying? Our page not found. Our not found component, right? What happens? Have a look to the URL. Okay, we are in HiroOC GitHub blog client. What happens if I click in login, for example? I have lost part of my path. I don't have like my / blog client again. I have moved to auth login. Okay? I mean, I can see the places, but they are not routed correctly. Okay? I lost my blog client path. Okay? Why is this happening? And one more thing, if I refresh, I lose it. Okay? So I need to fix these problems. Okay? Netlify has this routing problem, and so does GitHub pages. Okay? But again, it's not that hard to find a solution. Okay? We have two possible solutions for this, and one of them is to modify in app.js in our client. Instead of using browser router, we're going to use hash router. So in the import, instead of importing browser router, we are going to import hash, not nash, hash router. And after that, in the routing, we are going to modify, instead of browser router, we will use hash with an H and hash router.
So does that still work in the local host?
It's not going to work in the local host. I mean, we need to add manually a hash, okay, to make it work.
What's the difference?
The hash router is going to create in the root is going to create a hash. So this is going to be like the base name or the base URL for the GitHub pages. Okay. So once we deploy that and we try to open again in GitHub pages our app, you'll see that our path is slightly different. You have like your account.github.io/blog client /hash, and after that you will have post, about, but everything is going to be after that hash. Okay? I mean, we are forcing to have it like a root for our app with that hash. This is how hash router works. Okay? So we're going to, after that, there's another solution with browser router. Okay? Maybe if you prefer that, but this is one that works. So we need to do the deployment again. So it's okay if we push the changes too, but that's your choice. You don't need to do it if you don't want.
Do you push the changes there?
You can do it, but you don't need it, because we are going to do the deployment, and we are going to send the build folder.
So
npm run pre-deploy and npm run deploy. So I can show you during the deployment the other option to solve that problem is to add a prop called base name in the browser router. So browser router and add a prop called base name, and we are going to add the name of our repo, block client. Okay, this should fix also our problem. So you can change to hash router, or you can add this base name prop. Okay, both are good solutions. Okay, or instead of using this block client, you can use an environment variable. This is one owned by a node, so it's okay if you use process.m.public URL. Okay, this is going to take the name of the repo, and it's the same value, block client. I'm just going to check if the hash router has worked, and after that we are going to do the break for lunch. And just if you want to check if this solution works, you can do it later. Okay?
npm deploy, right?
Yeah, npm run deploy. Okay, so if yours is already deployed, you can have a look again to your GitHub pages. If you want to have saved that option, you can do a push, do a commit, do a push.
Okay.
If you want to commit those changes, you can do a commit, and you can push that solution.
Right, but what if you want to do the base router?
This is your option, okay? I show you two options, with the browser router or with the hash router. That's
Right.
Now that's your choice, okay?
So if you want to change it to browser router, what? So you change it to browser router, back to browser router.
Yeah, because probably because it's a static URL, static path, so you should change this.
I've got a hash post.
Yeah, now the
What's up, Mark?
That's the difference.
Okay, so then if you want to change it back to browser router,
So now it's published, so it should work. So I'm going to I have lost that. So.
yeah.
So in my blog client, I'm going to go to settings.
So if you change it back to browser router, in your package.json, you change.
You don't need to change anything in your package.json. You only need to change in app.js the import and the hash router to browser router.
To browser router, and then you do in the thing you do
Base name? Yeah, you have that in the lesson.
base name.
You can use base name block client or base name with the environment variable. Okay?
Which one's better?
They are going to work the same. The second one is more safe. It's a better practice if you use the environment variable. I don't have this yet. Maybe mine is not yet updated.
Yeah, so you just do that, right?
I just delete that.
Oh, you did it again.
And then you have to run the npm run pre-deploy, right? Again, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, you need the same steps as you did before. Okay, now mine is working with the hash. Okay, have a look at.
Yeah, mine did work.
So now if you want to change to go back to the browser router, is perfectly fine. Okay, that's your choice. Okay, so that was today's lesson. Okay, I add just a little challenge to do some research about other deployment web apps like Now or Amazon S3. Okay, if you want to try another kind of deployments. Okay, we have C3, so now it's your choice to choose which one is the best for you or which one suits you best. Okay, any question? Okay, so break for lunch. There's a mentor session in the Fast Track Classroom at 1 o'clock. Okay.